Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome to another exciting episode of Elevation with Chris Oram, the show where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success. Today, we have a very exciting show, and we have guest Taps Das joining us. And he is a YouTube reviewer who talks about different audio products all on his YouTube channel. So he's in the hi-fi scene is what you could call him. So he reviews different things in the home theater space and very high-end audio. So I'm excited to have him here to learn a lot from him. So I'm very excited to welcome Taps to the show. And we had a little bit of technical difficulty, so it's even better to announce him on the show now.
That's like the behind-the-scenes magic you don't need to divulge. We're smooth sailing.
I'm going to tell him about it because, honestly, the AirPods are such a good piece of hardware. They never break.
Yeah, they work every single time.
Can I tell you, it's kind of crazy when we're talking about wired versus wireless solutions that the wired solution actually wasn't old reliable. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I don't think that happens too often.
It's a brand new world, man. Everything changes.
So, Taps, welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. And like the intro, I mean, thank you. But like, not to detract a little bit, but like climb the ladder to success is, I don't have that many subscribers yet, so I'm still kind of working towards it. So hopefully I'll get there one day. But yeah, I'm still grinding.
You're one step ahead, though, so that's all that matters.
All right, I'll take that.
So how long you been doing the YouTube thing?
About 3 years or so. I started near the tail end of the pandemic. I have been told that the beginning of the pandemic was the optimum time to start because everyone was doing nothing. But at that time, I didn't know how to use a camera. So I had to learn everything off YouTube and give everyone else subscribers. And then at the tail end, I slowly got the hang of it. But my first few videos were terrible. So it's just been a slow level up over the last couple of years.
So I think that everyone's first couple of YouTube videos were terrible, but I can honestly say that I'm a fan and that your quality and the production quality, right? I was looking at your last YouTube video that you posted this week, and every single one of the comments, every single one, Taps, was saying like how good your production quality is. So like that's a true testament. I mean, you can be humble and but definitely the production quality is there for anyone watching. I would definitely check out Taps' channel. Taps, if you want to go ahead and plug that channel, you go ahead and
just now. Taps Das on YouTube or 0102 Studio. All things audio as much as possible. So anything from the lowest, cheapest product to sometimes I haven't got like the super high end stuff in yet, but I've had a few things, a couple Macintosh products and whatever. But I do it for the everyman. So I am learning as I go. I'm no expert. I'm just a guy that loves music and loves audio gear, and I have a chance to listen to a whole bunch of it. So it's me just really sharing it with the world and just giving my humble thoughts on it.
Hell yeah. So I'll get into Macintosh a little bit more because I would say they're the most well-known brand in the hi-fi space, and I know you went to the House of Sound, which I'm excited to get out there one time. So we'll get to that later, but that's going to get me excited. So I want to first talk about like what is hi-fi in kind of your own words. So when prior to starting this show, we talked about that hi-fi is a very niche community. You can go down a big rabbit hole, but I think 99% of people probably don't care about hi-fi. And you told me earlier today that that's all you think about. So I'm somewhere in the middle between that. So for the people watching at home, what's hi-fi audio?
Well, I think it's kind of a dated term now. Like, I think back in the day, it was high fidelity and it was recorded music. And so in the olden days of recording music, everything was analog and it was slightly degraded. Like, it was on vinyl and then later on cassette. And it wasn't digital yet. So getting closer to the actual recording was sort of the goal, I think. And then now we are so close, we can just download a WAV file and you're good to go. And so I think it's more of a dated term. I think it's more of how big of a nerd in audio are you? And then there's levels to that. So I think everyone, for the most part, loves music. And then just by right of the AirPods you're wearing or iPhones, it's just become really easy to consume content. But when you finally get a good pair of headphones, and it could be anything, like a Beats pair of headphones or a Bowers & Wilkins pair of headphones, it doesn't really matter. And then for me, if you get an amplifier and a pair of speakers. Doesn't matter what size, doesn't matter what brand. The first time you hear that versus your sound bar or like a Bose mini stereo or whatever they sell at Best Buy, I feel like most people would be like, oh, my music sounds better.
Yeah.
And it's really just that entry point, and then you can stay there and be happy for the rest of your life, or you could be like, ooh, is there more to this, or can I get more? And then depending on your level of nerd, then you go down that rabbit hole.
Great answer. I mean, so I'll dive in and unpack a little bit, and I'll tell you kind of where I'm at. One of my big questions, and I think one place that you can chime in for the audience and let them know is like, I don't have really a pair of good hi-fi speakers. So for beginners, what would you recommend? Like, what's a good beginner setup? Like, can you plug some brands that someone could go buy?
I would
like
start,
these speakers. Yeah.
There's two routes you can go now. So I would always say two speakers is better than an all-in-one. So you could go to a pair of powered bookshelf speakers. There's a Canadian company called Fluence. They make really budget audio, really good prices. I don't know. I think it's like $300-$400 for a pair of speakers with a 6-inch driver on it. It's got your Bluetooth. It's got your digital connections. You can connect it to your TV. I think that's a really good start. And then there's a pair behind me. Let me move my head. ELAC. They have, it's called the DB63, their debut series. They have two versions. There's a small bookshelf, and then that is a slightly larger bookshelf. It only comes in black, unfortunately, but they're pretty cheap. Plug that into any integrated amplifier, 30, 40, 50 watts. That's all you need. Listen to that, and then tell me that your music doesn't sound better. It will.
Absolutely. And I have a so in the last year I bought a Sonos Arc Ultra. Okay. So I didn't have really any sort of sound bar, so I was just listening to the TV sound before. I bought this Sonos Arc Ultra. It's about $1,000, but it was so much better than the original Sonos Arc, and it's like 14 drivers of speakers. It's an insane sound bar, but I think one of my next purchases over the next year is going to be I'll probably buy some Bowers and Wilkins speakers, and I know that's like 0 to 100, but you know the good news for myself is I can get it kind of at the dealer cost, so that's a little easier on the pocketbook, you know?
The only question you really have to consider, there'll be a lot, you could just go on forums and just nerd out, is how big is your room? And then get a smaller speaker than you think you need. That was my over... So, like, how big is your room? Like, in feet?
So here's the good thing is that I'm about to get a new spot here in the next like 1 to 2 months. So it'll be a much bigger space, but it'll still be, you know, a standard room. It's not going to be anything crazy.
So like what, 14 by 14 or 10 by 10 or
closer to 14 by 14.
All right, if you do 14, the 606s, the 600 lit range, but they're bigger bookshelf, totally fine.
You go bookshelf over floor standing in that case? Is there a reason to do floor standing?
I always gravitate towards floor standing, but given your size of space, I think there is a smaller floor stand. No, wait. I think they only have one floor stander in the 600 range, right?
I couldn't tell you.
I think there's only one, and it's pretty big. I think when you get in the range up, there is a smaller floor stander, but it's quite a bit more expensive. So, yeah, I would go bookshelf and then just get a subwoofer with it. Okay. The reason you would go floor stander is if it's a 3-way, and so sorry, everyone listening. Usually on a speaker, like the ones behind me, you have like the mid bass driver and the treble. So there's your highs and then your lows, and mid bass driver tends to pull double duty. So like the mid range is like your vocal, like what you're hearing a singer singing. And then the bass and everything like that. And so sometimes it's not as articulate or accurate. But if you get like a floor standard that has 3 drivers, a lot of times those are separated and they're kind of crossed over. And so I would always say a 3-way sounds best, but all depending on the music you're listening to. So what do you like listen to? Maybe that should ask that first.
It's hip hop, to be honest.
Oh, then go bookshelf and a subwoofer.
Yeah. And
yeah.
What do you
like? I listen to drum and bass. So what's that?
Subwoofer, what are you recommending? JL or what?
I actually have a Bowers & Wilkins 610.
Yeah.
I've had it for like a decade. It's totally beat up, but it still works.
Yeah.
It's good, and it'll fill your space no problem. They have a more powerful version of it. Although SVS makes some really good subs for not very much money. And they're a U.S. company, so support local, you know?
Yeah.
And they
So
have...
I'm going to say, I'm going to have to get your recommendations after the fact, but you go ahead as well.
Yeah. I have a pair of the 3000 micros in, so these tiny cube, and they hit hard. And if you're just doing music, I'm doing music and movies, and they're amazing too. So, but yeah, anything from SVS is a no-brainer reco.
All right, I'll check it out. So people at home, you can definitely check that out as well. I'm unfamiliar with SVS, so I'll check them out as well.
Yeah, it's a nice rabbit hole. They just specialize in subwoofers and speakers, so mostly subwoofers. So,
hey, so actually, Taps, I have some friends in the smart home space on YouTube, and they actually have a podcast called the Technical Difficulties Podcast. So,
nice.
Shout out to our friends over there. That's our friends Brandon Doyle and friends.
Cool.
So you actually have a podcast too. You talk home theater and all that jazz.
Yeah,
so
it's called...
How'd you get involved? Yeah, go ahead.
So the editor-in-chief, Carlo Razzo from Secrets of Home Theater, him and I we always end up just chatting, kind of like how you are with me, either over the phone or sometimes on a Zoom call. And we just decided to start recording it because he lives in the States, I live here in Canada, and we talk about... It's really just me and him catching up. And then we try to include whatever's going on in hi-fi, or if he went to an audio show, or if I got a new product in. And we just kind of like chew the fat, so to speak. And then we normally burn over an hour. We just really get along. And we've sometimes had guests on from like the audio industry. And yeah, it's fun. We don't get a lot of viewers, though, to be honest. We tend to go off on tangents, but it's really just us catching up, and then we happen to record it, and then we spit it out there.
Well, you're doing it, so that's all that matters. I mean, that's, I think, like, you know, at least one more step than a lot of people are taking is that you guys decided to record the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything I'm doing currently is just I love doing it, and I might as well just put it out there. And like the internet is just a free-for-all where you could just put everything that you have out there and then see what sticks. And so that's kind of the fun part.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, you said you love everything you do. You love hi-fi? You love listening
I love
to
audio.
music?
I love music, and I love listening to music, and then I love looking at audio gear. So that's kind of like, I think within this space, when we mentioned you can go down certain rabbit holes, there's a segment of the culture of hi-fi that wants to get as close to the source as possible, which is a bit of a misnomer, because if you want to get close to the source of a recording, then you need to be, in my view, in the recording studio when they make it. There is nothing that's going to get you that with your system at home. Like, it's not going to be the same room. You're not going to have the same speakers. You're not going to have all the same gear. So I don't chase that. I love music. I grew up in club culture and DJ culture. And I just like speakers and audio gear. And so I just want to hear my music and crank some tunes. You ever see Back to the Future?
Yeah, I just watched it actually recently for the first time about in the last year or two.
Yeah, remember that scene where he just plugs his guitar into that giant speaker and plays it? That's what I'm after. That's this. I just want to pound out some music and enjoy myself. Outside of the review, like outside of that stuff, I don't nitpick whatsoever. I only do it for the reviews because I sort of have to talk about the products that way. But when I'm in my off time, I don't care at all. I just want to listen to music, enjoy myself. I do notice more of the nuances between gear now, the more that I've done it, and I do definitely gravitate towards things, and so like that's kind of part of the learning. But at the end of the day, I kind of know what I like, and I go for that. I want oomph, and I love bass. So
So I was going to ask you what you like. So you like oomph and bass. Can you unpackage that a little bit more? Like, what does
Oh,
that mean? Or
I
what do
mean,
you,
a group of DJ culture. So
yeah.
um, in the early days, it was hip hop and house. House became well, grew into like techno, breepy techno. I got into jungle, and so it's been jungle, drum and bass, hip hop, dubstep, all of
Yeah.
that stuff. Like that's kind of like my core. And then there's like since I'm an '80s child, like there's like
Yeah.
new wave '80s that always has my heart. And
Yeah.
yeah, I got a vinyl collection, and but I am not a vinyl enthusiast in the same traditional hi-fi way where I
Yeah.
trash my records. If I like it, I buy two or three because one of them or two of them is going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
I touch my vinyl constantly. I only use 1200s. Yeah, I just like that's my bag. I like that stuff.
That's cool. Hey, so I wanted to know, like, how deep of a rabbit hole have you gone down for like acoustics and things like that? Like, as far as I guess my question is, like, Cedia, they had their recommendation on how to set up a home theater. Are you familiar with the RP22? Have you read that?
No.
Okay.
So I'm currently renting. This is a TMI moment. I got divorced, and I am now renting a small condo.
Okay.
And
No,
so
that's dope, dude. Hell yeah, good for you, Taps. Good for you. We appreciate it.
it's smaller than it's a closet of a condo. If you know anything about Toronto's real estate market,
Yeah.
it went batshit crazy over the last like decade or so. So if I was to buy this tiny condo, it'd be like 800,000. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, but either way, so I got it. I'm renting this place, and I can't install that sort of acoustic treatment without completely damaging the walls. I
Yeah.
have hung up some basic acoustic panels,
Yeah.
but I haven't ventured down that rabbit hole as of yet.
Okay.
Long-winded
Have you
answer.
ever been to Cedia?
No, not yet.
Dude, you would love it, man.
I know. I'm trying to get complimentary airfare via Secrets to send me down there.
Yeah.
So
No, you definitely send them this podcast recording and let them know you need to be there.
yeah, I'll happily go.
And then I'm gonna make you jealous. So in the first week of August, I'm going to Audio Advice. So Audio Advice is an integrator. They have their YouTube channel. I'm sure you're familiar with their YouTube
Yeah, yeah.
channel. They're hosting Audio Advice Live, where a lot of the big manufacturers are going to be there showing off what they have.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
I'll definitely send you some clips of kind of what I'm looking at. But top audio manufacturers are going to be there. So that's gonna be my first like 101 class of hi-fi. And then I'm
Okay.
sure probably after that I'll buy my first pair of speakers.
Yeah, I would just listen to everything possible if you can when you
Yeah.
go. There is a penchant for all of the people showcasing their wares to curate the music that gets played through it. And
Yeah.
where I can, I try to sneak on the music I listen to because
Yeah.
I don't listen to classical. I don't listen to rock. I don't have no idea who Steely Dan is. And so I'm not. If they play a piece of music at an audio show at a retailer, I have no idea what it is. And
Yeah.
so I'd rather hear what I'm familiar with, and I don't care if it's deemed high fidelity or hi-fi or not. I just want to hear what I'm used to, and then go from there. So see if you can get your music on before you buy anything.
Okay. Noted. Got it. Will do. I'll definitely have a little playlist as well. Okay. Two things before I forget.
Yeah.
If you could tell the people at home what audio streaming service you use. Are you a Tidal guy, or I know there's
No,
even
I'm using
higher?
Spotify.
You're using Spotify. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I love it.
So there are better streaming services out there, but a lot of when I did search each one of them, aside from the new music that's out there that's coming out, a lot of them get the same stuff.
Yeah.
And when it comes to electronic music, it doesn't really matter if you get the WAV file or the high resolution stuff because everything's just so heavily compressed that chances are you're not going to hear the difference between a 320 file versus a WAV file.
Yeah.
But then the other reason I would get streaming is to hear a lot of the old school tunes and remixes and B-sides that I would have on vinyl, and a lot of times it's just not available. And so for me it makes no sense. And so I have a few tracks that I purchased of my own that are high resolution, so I run those through like a USB drive or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a Spotify guy, and my kids have playlists on it, so that's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, I use Spotify
I
too, and I'm kind of stuck with their monthly
yeah,
subscription forever. But I'm happy with it.
yeah. I tried Apple Music, but for some reason, like I'm an Apple guy, but post iTunes, I find the interface incredibly hard to get used to.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose. I've heard people that lost their entire library of files when they turned Apple Music on. It just kind of swaps them out, and so I'm scared of doing that. I lost it once already, and I backed it up, and I don't want to. I don't want to go there again.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
And then I recall my second thing is so I went to a like an audio calibration course by likely considered two of the biggest audio professionals around. So they're kind of CD instructors. One is Jerry LeMay of the Home Acoustics Alliance, and one of his partners, Adam Pels. And one of their go-to demo songs is, I don't know if this is on your radar, but High Lily, High Low by Ricky Lee something or other. You should check this song out and listen to it on your, next video. Definitely don't put it on the video for copyright, but definitely listen and see what you think about this song. High
What
Lily,
kind of
High
music
Low.
is it?
It's like a very I don't even know. It's like a female voice with it's kind of like a female voice. I wouldn't even call it pop, classic slow jams. I don't know.
But I mean, I'll listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably won't like it. It's
Probably
not.
not.
Scene, but it's a good demo song. Let's put it like that.
I tend to be a little bit picky, but
So tell us what artists are you listening to? Like, who's your go-to then?
Oh, I don't like. I'm always just discovering new music. So again, a lot of drum and bass. So Bungle's like a guy that I if something gets released by him, I'll just instantly check it out. Same with Caliber is a good guy. Off the top of my head, there's so much music out there.
I know.
Yeah, it's hard to pick. I would have to like pull up my Spotify and then just get lost in whatever there is. But I guess because of in Toronto, we had a lot of our DJ scene was really big in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And depending on like the type of music you were listening to, we had some really popular DJs that did hip hop, but then they would play the original breaks to a lot of those tracks, and then all of us just became crate diggers where we wanted to hear the original samples for everything, and then that spurred, or that spawned, sorry, a whole community of people that would actually just go out and listen to like the more funk and soul and the rare grooves on a Friday, Saturday night, and there would be huge parties for that, and so there's a lot of funk and soul, a lot of reggae, a lot of soul, like a lot of that stuff is stuff that I would always go to alongside everything else.
So it sounds like music kind of brought you and other people together, and that's something that you found enjoyment and love for, and then you kind of like went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, I went down the rabbit hole of music primarily, and then I always liked audio gear, but it was just never affordable. And so I have almost like an orgy of gear in here, but all of this stuff is going back. Like, and none of this is mine. So I get a chance for like 90 days to hear some stuff, and then I get the opportunity to send it all back and then get a set of new gear for like 90 days and listen to that and get used to it and then send it back. So it's a privileged position to be in. And honestly, I haven't really heard anything that's terrible. It's just different different tastes and different different sound.
I'm sure with audio gear, it's like it's all at least good, and then most of it's probably great, and then some of it's stellar, but there's probably a lot of great that you listen to.
Oh, it's 90% great, especially if you consider like I grew up like in like the 80s and 90s. We didn't have good stereos. We went to. Do you have Kmart in the States?
We used to. I think it went bankrupt.
Yeah. So back in the day,
Kmart,
you get like a $30 tape deck with a turntable, belt drive, and a really crappy pair of speakers. That's what I discovered music on.
Yeah.
And so anything past that is awesome. So, it's gravy really. It's just every product I get in, you almost run out of superlatives where it's like, oh, this is kind of great too.
So you're definitely privileged in the audio world, you could say.
Yeah. I mean, for what I've gotten so far, I'm not on the first tier of people that get sent gear yet, but
Yeah.
I'm happy thus far. Like I
So
really just got into this just to hear as much as possible.
So you mentioned like you're not on the first tier. So I only know like really like one other YouTuber who's like kind of deep in it. It's I think his name's Shane Lee. You know that guy?
Oh yeah. I met him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like you know like is there a lot of people on YouTube doing hi-fi reviews?
Yeah, there's some people that have some like 400,000 subscribers in this space.
Is there? Who's
Yeah.
in your opinion who's the best? Because in my opinion, no lie, you're the best. That's like
Oh,
no
I'll take it.
lie.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
it. Sure.
Who do you
Yeah,
look
there's
up to?
tons of people. There's like John Darko's really good. Andrew Robinson's really good. There's a guy, Cheap Audio Man. He's really good. They've all been doing it for a while, and they all have, I think, like at least 300,000 subscribers. Like that is their full time thing, and they all have their own different personalities and their different takes on music, and they're all great. And then Shane is more into home theater, and he's, from what I see every once in a while, he has the most ridiculous home theater I've ever seen. So yeah, good guy.
Okay, so what do you think about like brands like Trinov? Like Shane Lee has, I think, a Trinov. You ever
I
played
have
around with
only
Trinov?
heard good things. I have only
Yeah.
heard good things. I got to hear no, I haven't heard them yet. I got to see. I think Perliston is another big one.
Yep.
I haven't got a chance to like sit and experience that for an extended period of time. So once I finally move spots and get a slightly bigger space, I'll be
Yeah.
into it. The
Oh, yeah.
closest I've gotten is a Rendell.
Okay.
They make like custom, or I guess dedicated home theater systems. So I got one of their smallest theater systems, which was gargantuan in my space.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was epic. Loved it.
Do you ever have like buyer's remorse? Are you buying any of this equipment, or it's all being sent for review?
It's all being sent for review, and I send it all back. I have, I did purchase a pair of Bowers and Wilkins speakers back in the day, so I have those, the original 685s. I got my own subwoofer from B&W. I had a full home theater system from them, but I slowly started selling it all once I started getting too much audio gear in, and now it doesn't really make sense for me to pick up pieces until I do. My ideal is going back to a slightly larger or bigger space overall, so I can have more than one dedicated setup. I can have a dedicated 2-channel, then a dedicated theater, and then I could start compiling my own reference pieces. But for the time being, it's just becomes clutter in here.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I'm kind of a minimalist myself, but I totally feel that. But you got like a good setup, and like I said it before, but like your thumbnails are high quality. Like even in how you're coming into the Zoom call, it's high quality. Like you have I mean, you told me you're a creative director, but you have like that eye for like what people are looking for. Like that's what I like about your content.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think it's like, I mean, I'm a designer and art director by trade, so it's really just my skill set in making video catching up to what my ideal is. And so I have a very high standard, but my skills aren't quite too, like if I was to go, if I had a client and I was going to go shoot a project, I wouldn't hire me. I would hire a professional photographer and a videographer or a director, and I would hire all the people to put that all together. But in the YouTube space, the fun thing is you get to learn and fail live in front of the world. So you could watch my very first video, and there are so many mean comments on it where people just, you can't hear the audio properly. I don't know what I'm talking about. I didn't have a script. Like I did so many things wrong. And you can actually see that video. It's up there now. And I wish I could take it down, but sometimes I'm like, oh, in the future, I could just look back and see that first video I made and be like, oh, look at the progression I've made in just technical skill, you know?
Yeah.
There's so much more I would like to do with video versus just sitting down here. But like, I'm taking everything kind of one shot at a time. So I've gotten the hang of shooting me for a little bit. I've gotten the hang of talking to camera a little bit. And then I've gotten the hang of shooting some B-roll. But, you know, there's things I want to learn, like how do I shoot a glossy black speaker without seeing myself in it all the time, like stuff like that. So incremental steps you kind of learn along the way, and hopefully I'll slowly get better and better at it and just iterate over time.
Hell yeah. So do you can like as a YouTuber, do you consider yourself solely a reviewer?
I guess for now, yeah. I again, like I'm just taking it one small piece at a time. There are so many things I would love to do. Like I would love to like go all full Casey Neistat and just do full on vlog recordings and have a whole proper voice and a story to tell.
Yeah.
I just don't have those technical skills as of yet. I mean, I could kind of go Wild West it, but I mean, the YouTube game has gotten pretty high end now, so I want to
Yeah.
slowly learn and iterate and do it slowly. And I'm in no rush to get there yet.
That's cool. You take it as a journey. How much time a week are you spending on YouTube? Like, what? Take me through your process, I guess, in terms of reviewing.
A fair amount is so I have my full time gig and I have
Yeah.
kids, and then every other hour is spent towards either YouTube or learning something, and then, or well, actually no, I'm lying. I actually even spend some time drawing and painting because I like to just
Yeah.
keep up my creative endeavors. I have a half finished painting just behind me there, and yeah. Aside from that, every other waking moment is just either writing a script or putting together some B-roll shots. After I do this, I'm just gonna clear everything out of here and then shoot a pair of speakers against the black wall just to
Yeah.
get some of that B-roll in. And yeah,
Do
as
you
much
do
as possible.
everything yourself?
Everything.
Thumbnails, editing.
Everything.
Okay, talk me through how are you getting in touch with the brands? I mean, now I imagine brands are getting in touch with you, but I imagine in the early days you reached out to them. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I got fortunate because I was doing stuff for Secrets of Home Theater that they would have their own brands that are either sponsoring them or sending products their way, and then they would fire products to me that way. And then in the last year, a lot of brands have just been reaching out directly, which has been really awesome. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm slowly on getting on more and more people's radars, and the more they want to send me, please send it my way. I just want to hear everything.
Yeah. So I told you that I'm in the smart home space. I work for an integrator is what we call it. So it's in the CDA channel, custom integration, installing kind of home theater, networks, audio, video, everything like that. Want to know about your take on the smart home? Like, what do you have any connected home devices, a smart thermostat, a Ring doorbell? Or are you strictly hi-fi and you don't care about, the connected home?
Oh no, I used to have a Ring doorbell. But since I'm renting this place again, I don't have anything like that just because I can't. In the future, say I was to own a home of my own, I definitely want to like network the entire house. Like I want to run, is it Cat 6 cable or 8 cable
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yeah, Cat 6.
I want to hire basically you guys to wire up my house. I would like to have voice command, but this is actually a good question for you. Is there such a thing as biometric sensors for the home?
Yeah. So we
Yeah?
have like a face unlock or like a palm print unlock.
And you could do that on your door?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I want. So like
Yeah.
just get my face and my kids' faces
Yep.
so they don't have to carry a key and potentially lose it. And
Yeah.
I would want that on my front door.
You can do that even for the low. You don't have to hire an integrator to do that. You could like DIY that. There's like
Oh, I'm not.
three-
I'm not handy.
for three.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm not
handy at all.
either. But for $300, you could definitely get it done. It doesn't have to be a $1,000 solution.
Yeah, I would want like full vaulted though. Like 'cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of break-ins in the Greater Toronto area. Where
Yeah.
people don't go to jail for a long time. They just kind of get arrested then get out. So
Yeah.
I would want like proper barbed security on all my doors. But yeah, I would like a networked house for definitely. I'd
What
want
do
to
you
have
got now?
speakers in every room. What's that?
What are you using now for your networking? Like a Eero or something?
Oh no, I just have whatever the cable supplier sent me, and that's just
no.
it's terrible. I got
Oh
when
my
the technician came, I got him to activate all the Ethernet ports in every room, but I
Yeah.
don't think all of them are working.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay,
bad.
so you're more on just the hi-fi. I mean,
Well,
you
that's
would have
by
some.
circumstance. That's my
Yeah,
circumstance right now. If I had a home that I could tear up the walls and do everything, I 100% would. So,
that's cool. So,
but I'm also a bit of a late adopter on tech, honestly.
are you iPhone or Android?
I'm iPhone,
Okay,
but I no
good.
longer have an iPad. I need to get it. I need to get one again.
I just flexed my iPad Mini. This is such a good piece of hardware, folks. It's so good. It's like it literally fits in one hand.
Yeah, it's so the funny thing is because of what I do for a job. Unfortunately, if you're in the art space, you need the higher end of everything.
Yeah.
Like with video editing, you can kind of get away with it, but if you're using any of the Adobe software, you're gonna murder your computer.
Mm.
And so, if I was to get an iPad and I want to draw on it, you'd probably want to get the higher spec ones. You know, you want to get
iPad Pro.
more. Well, not even just the processor, but you just want more memory. You
Yeah.
know, like my laptop, I have 64 gigs, and that's kind of a bare minimum, and I still top out the memory all the time. And so, yeah. So when it comes to buying a piece of tech, it's always whatever the price is, just add a grand to it, and that's what you have to
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah. So you're always upgrading all the upgrades on Apple, and those get expensive.
Well, when I buy a piece of hardware like my MacBook Pro, I don't want to
Yeah.
replace it anytime soon because
Right.
it devalues so fast once you get it that you want it to last for longer than you have it. So
Are you using Premiere then?
I'm using Final Cut.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
use Final Cut too, but you're a power user, yeah?
no no it
Yeah.
takes me a long time. My edits take a long time. If I a bit of a secret, so my videos are about 13 minutes. I record for an hour and a half,
Really?
and I cut it down because I can't get words out
What
sometimes.
what are you cutting out?
Every time I screw up a paragraph, which is a
Yeah.
lot, specifications, I
Are you
can't get
using
those
a
words out.
teleprompter or are you using like a kind of like read it and spill it type of strategy?
Yeah, so read it and spill it, but then also sometimes as I'm going, it I don't like to lie, and I don't like to sound I don't like to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't like to make it up. You know, so like if I'm reading something, sometimes I wrote something very eloquently, but it doesn't sound like me. And
Yeah.
so when I'm speaking to camera, I'm like, that doesn't sound like me at all. So I have to sort of rehash it and just do a retake. And then sometimes at the end, and then I'll just redo the video again just because I'm just not happy with it. And I'll just try it again. And sometimes after you've been speaking for a while, you feel more comfortable. And so, because
Okay.
I'm not a trained broadcaster or a trained public speaker, that it takes me a few takes to get my thoughts out there.
So, as far as like how hard are your viewers on you? Like
Oh,
you talk
for the
about that
most part,
you're.
they're kind of awesome.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm sure some people are hard on you, right? Yeah, you
yeah,
talk about that you have to rework things in your own voice. I imagine some people come to you with their pitchforks, especially in your hi-fi world.
yeah, but that's to be expected. So I'm entering a space where people take the hobby very seriously. Some people, and because there's a certain segment that takes the end all be all is hearing closest to the source sound, and there's another segment that is really into engineering. There's a lot of engineers and tech nerds
Yeah.
in the space. I'm not saying nerd in a bad way. They understand the numbers and acoustics better than I will ever be able to. And so when you have that swath of people, and then I'm taking purposefully a very novice angle at it. Like I love music, I love audio gear. That's kind of where it ends for me. I'm not going to take it to that. I'm not going to argue the science of acoustics to you. I'm not going to argue any measurements. I don't do measurements. So naturally, because of that, you're going to have people that just don't ride with you. But there are plenty of other channels out there where you can feel satiated. Like there's a guy, Aaron's Audio Corner, where he does full on measurements and he's really into the numbers and the data, that guy's for you. If you love that stuff, go listen to that guy. You know, he's speaking your language. And so there are people that will chime in and just say something that's like off-putting. And, you know, people on social media just don't really know how to act, you know? And so you have to just, that they exist. And so, but I'm purposely putting myself into this space where this stuff does exist, so I can't really get angry at it. It's just, people are going to wild out.
So that's interesting that you mentioned that you don't use data in your videos. And at any point did you use data in your videos? Like, why did you take that stance? Is it because you wanted to come at it? No,
I'm an art major. So pretending that I'm a acoustic engineer or anything is false. I just, like, at the end of the day, I hear music, I'm like, oh, it's a good tune. I don't think about how it's all separated. I have to, sometimes if I'm making a beat, I have to mix it down and then I have to understand that stuff. But I leave that at the door. I'm not a mixing engineer. I've never made a speaker. I don't know how to use a soldering iron. Like, that's not my bag. And that's kind of my lane. Here's what I like. Here's what I'm into. The numbers and measurements are out there. And as long as brands aren't lying, I'm good to just take their word for it. And plus, I'm listening in a flawed space. I'm in a condo with a room that's open on one side. There's a kitchen there. There's plenty of hard surfaces. So I know what my room sounds like with the gear that I have in it. But I'm not going to measure gear in my room for that purpose because it would serve no purpose.
Gotcha. So it would be doing almost your viewers a disservice if you did that.
Yeah. And I'd just be speaking out of turn. There's so much you have to do to properly understand that. And I don't find that enjoyable too. So there's that.
Approximately how many brands of speakers have you reviewed?
I mean, you have to scroll. I don't think it's...
Or like models.
I'm not actually sure, to be honest. It's
ballpark.
It's not
50, 30, 10.
Maybe it's 50 or 60. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay, so that's a fair sample size. So as far as 60 or 50, how could you ever possibly rank them? You know, like,
oh, they're so different. It's like a, I don't know, horrible analogy time. How do you rank your favorite Jordans? Like, they're all comfy. They all look kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
How do you rank them?
So they're all high quality?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, even some of the cheap ones are pretty great. Like, even behind me, there's speakers of every different price point, and they're all great in their own right.
Is there a category under hi-fi for speakers? Like, when do you get into hi-fi?
Oh, I think that name is just an archaic name.
Outdated.
I think it's just for, here's the subculture of this. You know?
Yeah.
Like, everyone that's uber into audio past, hey, I want to play my music on my insert Bluetooth speaker here sort of deal. Anyone that... Do I hate on that stuff? No.
No. Do you hang out on the forums? Like, do you hang out on Reddit? No.
No. I don't do it. No. For every genre, I don't do it. I don't do that. It's just there's a segment of the rabbit hole that I just don't want to partake in. And it's not constructive. I'd rather just learn stuff.
Okay, so you mentioned you watch movies and listen to music.
Yeah.
Which is more impressive in your opinion? If you could only do one for the rest of your life.
Movies or music?
Yeah.
Oh man. They're so different. I guess music?
Same.
But I mean, there's some really good movies out there.
What's your favorite movie?
Heat and Predator. Those are my two. Predator, maybe number one.
Never seen either. Sorry. Should I watch them? I'll go watch them.
You've never seen Heat?
Nope.
Pacino, De Niro? No?
I could go watch it.
Yeah, go watch that today. It's incredible. And then Predator. You've never seen Predator?
Nope.
It is not high quality cinema. This is Schwarzenegger in his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and an alien. It's great.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Tell me about the House of Sound. So I want to go there. I want to go on a New York City trip, check out the Savant test home, the Crestron test home, as well as the House of Sound. So, in your opinion, what did you think?
It was awesome. It was complete overkill audio, and you just get to hear the best of the best. But it's not like a treated space. They treat it like a home. Like if you had like you knew a really rich guy that just got all the acoustics for his, like, all the components, all the speakers, had an unlimited budget, and decided to, here's my living room, here's the system in it, here's the home theater, here's the system in it, here's every room completely kitted out.
Yeah.
And it's great. And they let me play whatever I wanted. So that was
a plus for you.
Oh yeah.
All right. What else do you want to talk about? This is free for all.
Oh, I don't really know. Were you always in Vegas?
Yeah, I've always been in Vegas. Born and raised out here. Just kind of fell in love with smart homes. I wanted to find out what was the best smart doorbell is really kind of like my origin story behind it. I've always liked technology. I like Apple products.
So what's the high watermark doorbell?
Sorry, high watermark. I went down the rabbit hole.
What's the best one?
The best one? So the best one is like a 2-end door station. It's like $1,200. But as far as like DIY consumer grade doorbell, probably a Eufy or a Ring. Eufy's great because there's no monthly subscription fee. But I think Ring is the brand leader for a reason.
But so I have heard that people can hack your Ring and disable it and then break into your house. Do you have to have your Ring wired?
So definitely want to do a wired Ring doorbell for sure, like a PoE. Anything wired really is best, except for, I guess, headphones, as we talked about earlier. But yeah, at where I work, Eagle Century, we do a lot of very high-end products. So it's really like just the highest of end things that like consumers can't buy. They have to go through a dealer to purchase, which I think you probably...
Can you divulge?
Yeah, I can divulge. Tell me what...
All right.
Ask
So
it. I'm more than happy to answer.
So outside of doorbell, what are some of the things that like would be in the higher end? Is it like the security system, the cameras? Is there motion sensors?
Allalarm.com for security solutions. So cameras and alarm systems, they can get very high end.
Yeah.
We do a lot of 100-inch TVs. We do a lot of, screen innovation, Stewart film screen, home theaters. Audio speakers is where you can really go down the rabbit hole. We do a lot of like $5,000 and up Ubiquity networks, 5 to 10 access points, a 48 port powered switch, like big custom homes, 10,000, 15,000 square feet, like huge.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's awesome. Do you know if most of those homes are owned and then rented, or is it actually
they're owned by wealthy businessmen and women?
Okay.
CEOs, athletes, lawyers, doctors, type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got the UFC out there, so there's probably a gobble of money out there.
We're right next to the headquarters. Like from the parking lot of where I'm currently at is the UFC flag.
Oh, cool!
I'm gonna send it
to
you.
Are you a fight fan? Or?
Yeah, my dad kind of put me onto UFC. I've been to a couple of UFC fights. I'm not super into it, but I love MMA and dudes kicking ass, and it's
Who's
badass.
your fighter if you had to pick one? Do you have one? Or?
Someone told me I look like the white John Jones. I like John Jones a lot. Anderson Silva is like who I kind of like loved.
Yeah.
You kind of look like Anderson Silva, no?
Oh, no, he's a little darker than me. Yeah. And
he's
way more athletic.
Yeah, Anderson the Spider Silva. Except, dude, do you remember when he like broke his leg? That was the craziest moment.
That broke my heart, man.
Who's your favorite fighter?
All right, so Silva for sure. GSP. I'm Canadian. Yep. He's like a high watermark. I actually saw GSP and Hendricks in Vegas. I thought he lost that fight.
Yeah.
But yeah. GSP, Silva, all the Vanderlei. Jones is great. Yeah, so many great fighters.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we had started talking the weekend of WrestleMania, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was like you were watching it. I was like, "Hey, it's going down here.
It's
It's like
back
all
in
this
Vegas
traffic."
next year.
So, when are you coming to Vegas? When are we going to hang out in person? When are we going to like
Oh, I would love to go. Like, I love Vegas. Like, Vegas can do no wrong in my opinion. I love that city. It's my favorite people watching city. Like
Well, it's great for people watching.
my favorite is like, I'm an early riser, so I'd get up in the morning, like around 5 or 6. I'd go get coffee to see what's open, and then I'd just sit down on a bench and I would watch the morning train wrecks happen.
Yeah.
Of like couples melting down on each other, the walks of shame. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I could do that all day, every day.
Yeah, there's a lot to see in Vegas in the casinos after 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's wild.
And
And then outside of like this, like the main tourist area that's all I've ever seen. What's Vegas like?
it's cool. I live in the suburbs. I mean, we're right here in Summerlin. So I mean, it's like normal city life.
Is it just like suburban sprawl sort of deal?
Yeah, but it's with access to the greatest entertainment street in the world. So if I wanted to go to a high-end restaurant or a sick concert tonight, I could. Or I could, hang out and go to the grocery store and cook at home. It's normal.
What's the commute into the thing? Is it like 20 minutes in and then you're good?
15 minutes less.
Oh, that's amazing. I got to move to Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can find my way to the States at some point in my life soon, I will go.
All right. I hope it happens.
If I can find my way to WrestleMania 42, I'm in.
Hell yeah.
But I heard the tickets are like 10 grand. So.
I just saw, apparently they announced it like they just did it behind the scenes announced it like on the roof with somewhere or something. I don't know.
Oh, for real? Yeah, because I know it was supposed to be somewhere else and they canceled and they moved it back to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's up.
Yeah, I'm a wrestling nerd from back in the day, so that's the one thing with the YouTube channel and the hi-fi space being such a small, sort of closed circle. I decided this year I'm gonna watch WrestleMania both nights on two different systems, and let's see what happens. People can either hate it or just be like, oh, you can actually be a complete wrestling nerd and also like home theater. Like, is there other people like that out there? Who knows? So
You might be one of a kind, but I'm sure there's other people out there.
yeah, you got to create that little bit of blue ocean for yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, so is there anything else you want to talk about before we go ahead and wrap up today, Taps?
I don't know. It's your pod. Did you have any other questions for me? Is there anything you needed to know?
As far as like how long is your timeline of recording a review? How long are you testing these things?
Oh, I asked for 90 days to have the product. Some places will be like, sometimes I only have maybe 30 days, sometimes only a month and a half. And then if that's the case, then I'll take it for as long as I can have it for. But but like 60 to 90 days, just so I can get what I find happens a lot is you could listen to something and then get used to it, and then it sounds better. The more you listen to it, your ears sort of adjust. And so what I like doing is I have something connected, and then I disconnect it, put something that I know I like, and then switch back out after a day or two to hear if I was truly hearing what I was hearing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Does it get exhausting, like having so many products to review? Does it ever become a chore? No, never.
No.
You never have what if you have too many kind of upcoming? Like, let's say you have 5 at a time. Will you not let that happen? How do you prevent that from happening?
Oh no, it's a blessing. I have 4 home theater systems in 700 square feet right now. So like, I'm constantly shifting them around, moving them. Like my entire walk-in closet is all boxes. My storage locker is all boxes. But I mean, this is what I asked for, and this is what I hope to do as my only thing, So
you always keep a positive attitude. There's never a day where it's like, oh, another review. I have to do this. You get to do this.
Oh no, because I've been in advertising and design for 20 years, and sometimes that gets to me. Like when someone's like, "Hey, make the logo bigger," or hey, we're on revision 15 of your website or something. That day-to-day grind, but like this is brand new to me. And the fact that I'm not at a point where I think I'm proficient at it means I can I'm just getting those reps in still. So
you like the learning process, you like the growing, you like the constantly making things better. Are you hard on yourself? I mean, you said you have a very high standard. You're hard on yourself?
Yeah. I did one video. You could watch it. It's for, I think it's Fosse Audio, where I got too comfortable and I was like, I don't need a script. I got this. And I think I said like about 85 times in the video, and I got roasted in the comments for it. And it was true. It's like, and it's up there still. It's there. But yeah, just like always iterate, always work hard, always try to get better, baby steps every single time, and you'll notice improvement.
Okay, I think my last question I'll leave you with is like, what's one change that you made in the last 3 years that gave you kind of exponential results? Like what do you think that maybe a blind spot you didn't see, you've suddenly discovered it and then you 10x'd kind of what your quality was or your results, or however you'd like to answer that?
Well, I didn't get 10x results yet. Like I still have a fairly small subscriber base. It was just the learning curve of how do I mix audio properly for voice? Is it my microphone? Is it my room? Is it a mix of both? And then learning how to use a camera, really, of just getting used to that. Yeah. So I haven't noticed a yield of 10 times the result or anything like that. Maybe 1.5 times right now. Yeah. I haven't had a video go viral yet or anything like that. So it's all just baby steps for me, and I'm comfortable with that.
If you could define a massive success of your YouTube channel, how would you define a massive success?
I mean, that would be a hindsight question, I think. Success for me for YouTube is growing, learning, and doing what I love, and then getting my hands on as many products as possible. Everything else that comes out of that is gravy. So I'm not really worried about, like, it's cool when I check my stats. I'm like, oh, I got more subscribers, but that's not what I'm chasing. You know, like I just want to hear as much as possible. I just want to. That's cool. I want to hear that amp. I want to hear that pair of speakers. You know, I want to hear it. Like, you know, when you walk into a store, you're like, oh, I'd love to hear that, and you only have like 5-10 minutes. Now I have 90 days.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm here for. That's the only reason I started doing this, and that'll be the same reason when I'm down the road 10 years from now. I just want to hear it.
That's really genuine, and like I love that response. So that's an excellent one.
Thanks.
Well, man. Hey, so I really enjoyed getting to know you today. I feel like I'm right there with you, but like it's great getting to meet someone that you watch on YouTube. I very much enjoy your content. I very much enjoy. Much. Yeah, of course. I very much enjoyed the knowledge that you got to bring today. I'm sure I'll tap you in the future, no pun intended, for some audio advice here, but I'm sure as anyone looking to get into the audio space, not just the hi-fi space, that you can be a great resource. So I'll definitely point them in your direction if anyone has questions on audio recommendations. But I wish you, nothing but success in terms of your YouTube journey. I love watching it, and it sounds like really getting to know you. You're a genuine dude behind the scenes that just kind of loves what he does. So I appreciated that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, dude. And apologize for the technical difficulties, but this has been
not a problem.
Elevation with Chris Oram.
I need to find my way. So, yes. I'm cutting you off. Sorry. If I can find my way to Vegas in the not too distant future, I'll hit you up for sure.
Yes. And where can they find you at? So Taps Das on YouTube, 0102 Studio.
Yep. That 0102 Studio on Instagram. You can type either Taps Das or 0102 Studio into YouTube, and you can find me there. And yeah, like and subscribe.
Cool, y'all. Thanks so much for watching episode 22. This has been Elevation with Chris Oram.
Thank you so much.